Mike, what supplements do I take? Or coach, what supplements should I be taking? Is this the right supplement for me? These are the questions I hear all the time. Also, what am I actually taking for my supplements? So I wanted to take this time to actually share with you guys what my actual supplement routine looks like, as well as a added bonus. To be honest with you guys, part of the sponsorship for this live stream is Sea Moss gel from Biolore and their Sea Moss gummies, which we're going to get into. We're going to talk about, is it worth it? Is it legit? Who and how might you be using it? As well as like literally my entire supplement routine right now, what I dropped, what I've added, and what I pretty much consistently keep. And we're also going to go into a basically peanut butter and jelly swap, or a level up to how to increase your fiber and protein intake with a peanut butter and jelly. Now, I'm going to be sitting for this one because I'll be honest with you guys, I've been standing all day and kind of going to conserve a little bit of energy, not feeling so hot. But hopefully the Sea Moss gel and some of the supplements here and getting some nutrients in will be helpful. Also, with that being said, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and in the comments, whether you're watching live, whether you come back, watch a replay. We'll be also putting out a blog post, a newsletter, and a recap on this. So whether you're watching it live or the replay, you'll have all the insight. I'll be sharing sources. And again, shout out to Biolore. If you're watching this on Amazon Live, we actually have a 15% off code that they provided us that you can use during this live stream. So if you're watching anywhere else on any of the other platforms, I also put a link over to our Amazon Live. You can go check that out. It's only during the live. If you're watching the replay, I would say join on our newsletter. I'm going to be working out something with them where we could potentially send out a follow-up promo code. We'll see, but you got to join the newsletter for that. With that being said, let's start with our supplement routine. By ours, I mean mine. And then after that, I'm going to actually go into where Sea Moss gel can fit into that, the gummies versus the actual gel itself, and what I've actually changed, because I've actually removed a couple of things from my supplement routine, really like my medication kind of routine, and what I'm doing to kind of counter that or adjust for that. So number one, this is a pretty standard one. This is probably the foundation of everything that I take, is either a greens and or multivitamin. So right now I'm taking Moringa, which is more or less like a multivitamin, it's kind of a green supplement. I already took that this morning. Again, it really constitutes as a base cover multivitamin. Okay. There's some cool things with Moringa specifically. It's got some fiber. It's got a little bit of protein. It's got some other components to it. And it doesn't hit the same kind of density as far as all of the vitamins and minerals as you would get in a traditional like synthetic maybe created multivitamin, but this is like, because there's Mother Nature's multivitamin for a reason. It does hit a lot of those checkpoints. So that's the foundation. This is like number one, I build everything off of. Number two, that's probably the most impactful, is creatine. So I'm actually going to grab my creatine, both gummies and powder, because they are both valuable. If I can get to it. So when we talk about creatine, I'm a big fan of creatine powder first and foremost. There's a couple brands that I like. Again, these aren't even actually sponsors. Thorne is one I bought myself. Sports Research is another one that I've worked with in the past. I've also paid for out of pocket. Whichever you're going to go, and this is for all supplements, you want to be able to have a third-party tested stamp of approval, whether that is NSF, so Certified Safe for Sport, whether it's another third-party tested, hey, it has exactly what it says in it. Because realistically, in the supplement world, I can take anything, throw it in a container, and claim it is whatever it is, and sell it for an ungodly amount of money. So being able to have a third-party tested, so this is NSF certified for sport. That's how you know it's safe, has exactly what it says in it. You're not going to flag any drug tests, which is why they work with the UFC and different brands like that. Also, again, Sports Research is another really good one. That's what I look for all supplements. Creatine probably could even be my number one. Creatine is like a foundational one. It's great for, obviously, physical performance, one of the most documented when it comes to actual data and peer-reviewed insight. But it's also not only great for performance in the gym and recovery, but also cognitive benefits. Whether that's you're running low on sleep, whether you just want to like optimize your actual brain function. My stepmom actually just talked to me about this. asking about for her. And I was like, yes, 100%, whether men, women, whoever, creatine is a go-to move. Whether you get it in gummies or powder, my 2 cents on that, and same thing for multivitamins or really any of this, including even the Sea Moss gel, whether you're going to go with the Sea Moss gummies or the gel, anything you're doing, whether it's gummies and or the powder, ideally powder or a gel or that source is going to be better from an absorption standpoint. And you're going to be able to control what you're taking more. When it usually comes to a gummy, the gummies are usually friendlier, they're tastier, they're more accessible, it's easier to get in, but usually there's added calories. Let's just use the Sea Moss gummies as an example. So it's really not that bad. For 2 gummies, 12 calories, not bad at all. When you compare that to the Sea Moss gel, you're going to have 2 tablespoons, you're serving 10 calories, more or less the same. You get the same nutrients in here. So for the gummies, it's actually pretty solid. Now, when it comes to creatine gummies, I've seen a wide spectrum of like 50 to 100 calories for a serving for 5 grams of creatine versus being able to get it from powder. You're not going to have any calories because it's literally just the powder. It's amino acid. So when someone asks me an ideal way, powder or the like pill whenever possible, or the gel, for example, from an absorption, if it's gross, if you don't like it, if it just takes too much time, even like a fish oil. The cool thing, I'll go over in the fish oil, which is another pick of mine. That's like my top 5. If you feel like you have an aftertaste, sometimes gummies can be helpful for that, or just getting it in. So like with the Sea Moss gel, having a gummy, wow, this is actually really good. I'm genuinely surprised at how good. I gotta actually check the ingredients on it. So you got cane juice, vegetable oil, tapioca syrup. Yeah. Really all the same stuff. Yeah, got your Sea Moss gel. Okay, so we got orange juice, apple juice. That's what's giving it that flavor. Nice. Okay. So this is actually, it does have natural flavors, lemon, raspberry, apple. So really nothing crazy as far as like added sugars and things. It's surprising actually how good it tastes. But with the apple juice, orange juice, that totally makes sense. I'm also going to do a flavor test for all of the Sea Moss gels. We're going to cross compare all of them, but I'm going to go through my supplement picks, basically breakdown. I just want to give that as an example. Gummies can be great when you're starting something new. If you want to build a habit, from my experience, having a gummy makes it more desirable. A powder is kind of boring. At this point, like, it's easy for me to get in my protein powder. It's easy for me to get in my creatine powders. Any of that stuff, my supplements is part of my morning routine. I got both plant-based and whey-based and or like animal-based proteins, I think is the easier category. And then we'll go over some of the other things here, like we have collagen, peptides, fun things like that. But the real thing I wanted to break down is first like what I'm currently doing and then what I've taken out. So we've got a multivitamin or a greens product. We've got creatine. I was talking about fish oil. So this is something I already took pretty much my entire supplement routine this morning. But fish oil or some version of omega-3 fatty acid is like my top 5 for a supplement. Again, Health Dose is just the brand that I just got sent to me. To be honest with you, I'm really fortunate. I get a lot of brands send me stuff just to try out. So I rotate through a bunch. I have some of my top picks that I will even buy if I need to, but I get so many brands to send me stuff. I just like rotating them. Here's what I will say. Again, looking for, and this is what I'm looking at. They have certified GMP, which is basically going to look at, does it say what it is, or meaning does it verify what's in it's actually in it? That's what we're looking for. Third party tested to make sure that it's actually having the ingredients and what it is in it. Sometimes they'll say, yeah, like FDA registered facility. To me, that's great, but not as actually impactful as I'd like to see, third party tested or NSF, because FDA registered facility means like, hey, it has like the equipment you use, but like you can still make mistakes, right? So having that like certified GMP or having the NSF stamp is more impactful to me. And then the other piece, so we got 3 already. So we've got our multivitamin, we've got our creatine, we've got omega-3. This one's coming from fish oil. There's also plant-based options. One of the other ones I find really impactful for me personally, it just depends on the person, is a B12 that I do from a dropper. That doesn't always make my top 5 depending on the person, but what always makes my top 5 is D3K2. And this is a fat soluble supplement, which is a fancy way of saying you need to take it with fat for it to be properly absorbed and utilized. So that's one. And again, this is all stuff I've taken this morning, so I'm not going to retake it. So that's like rounding out my top 5. There's one more, and that's going to be, for me, it's magnesium. Now, I talked about before you can take the pill and or the droppers. I honestly, the droppers are more absorbable from my experience, and it's easier, and as long as the taste isn't gross. Pills are also great. They're very accessible. You can travel with them. But that just rounds out my top 5 of like what I take every single morning, pretty much no matter what. Now, also for me, part of that is the B12. So I technically take 6 things in the morning that I will have pretty much no matter what. And that's just because of what I find, not only from an energy standpoint, but the relationship to some other nutrients, bioavailability for it, and taking it in the dropper version so we can uptake it faster and more effectively. And it just helps support with other functions related to our body, our hair, nails, energy, metabolic rate, and being able to help with overall just how I operate. That's what works for me. Now, in that, I'm kind of not including protein because I technically have protein every single day. I've got my Premier protein here. I also have Pure Protein. These are things that are not sponsors. I literally just buy them on a monthly subscription. I put that in with my coffee. So I have, speaking of coffee, this isn't like every day, but a protein coffee is nice, but it's a nice to have. And before I get into this, there's something I actually wanted to share, which is, in general, supplements are exactly that, supplementing your nutrition. It's the last 10 to 20%. It is not your immediate start with. So technically, I don't think any of this stuff. That's the biggest message I want to invite for you guys. Well, yes, I'm getting transparently paid by Sea Moss, Biolore, to talk about Sea Moss gummies and Sea Moss gel. Like, it's a nice to have. It's not a need to have. It's a great product, and all of these things are great products, but you don't need any of this stuff. You need real food and water and your basic like electrolytes, and that's it. Now, it's a bonus if you get it from a supplementation standpoint on top of your nutrition. It's the last 10 to 20%. So I say all that to say, from the protein coffee, this is where it gets kind of nice and fancy. You do 1 scoop, 10 grams of protein, 70 calories. It tastes really good. The caramel, I like mixing it with the caramel Premier protein that's pre-made. So you get 40 grams of protein in the morning for like 250 calories. And it's a great way to start the day to get energy, because I more or less will do like a food fast until about anywhere from 12 to 3 every day. It's just how I like to operate. So that's like my go-to routine at this point. The one thing I've taken out is I've, for about a year, taken some medication, working with our hormone side of the team and our medical directors. I was looking at my lab reports. My testosterone was down. Estrogen was kind of up. So I played with a couple things for about a year, taking an estrogen blocker and being able to take a medication that was like basically signaling natural testosterone production. And I won't get into the weeds of that because that's, you need a script for that. There's a variety of other things. You can talk to our medical team if you're interested, or your own doctor. That's not here on Amazon or any of the other places you're going to get to. But I removed that, and I wanted to be mindful of how my body's going to adapt from a testosterone and estrogen perspective. I bring all that up to say what's cool about all this stuff is it's great, but it's not going to like replace that. It's not going to replace good sleep, exercise, quality nutrition, and stress management. So being able to say any of these supplements is going to like have a huge impact, it's kind of misrepresenting the point of it all. It's really just being able to add things on top. And the cool thing is, from a protein coffee, it's another way to get actual protein in and have some good quality coffee, and being able to give you the energy you want for your day. So the one thing I also wanted to shout out is Magic Mind. This is a cool one. It has not only our tea in it, some green tea for like a less intense caffeine. Like, coffee is obviously going to have more caffeine. I believe this is 70 milligrams per serving. 80, I lied. It's 80 milligrams from natural caffeine from your coffee, which is more or less going to align with a regular cup of coffee, and from 80, maybe 100, 120. This is going to be, I believe, 50 milligrams of caffeine per serving on your Magic Mind. And they're meant to be taken for at least 5 days in a row, because it not only has your tea, but it has just a collective of adaptogens and some mushrooms in it. They're going to help from your immune system, your cognitive focus. It's got to build up in your system is the point. But this is actually a legit brand I really like. Again, they're not even like paying me to say this. It's something they actually hooked us up with some free products for the retreat. I've just been using it. But this is where, if you guys have questions, let me know. But I'm going to actually now jump into the Sea Moss gel side of things. So number one, I'm going to literally taste test all this. I tried the gummies. These are actually super legit. So if you're uncertain, I was talking to a friend of mine. He's like, dude, that sounds gross. Like, Sea Moss gel, when you look at it, it can be a little deceptive. It kind of like, I literally think of it as like a replacement of jelly. That's how I use it. But it can kind of look a little bit more of a viscous consistency that doesn't mimic jelly, but it's actually like really good. Honestly, our kids, like, especially my 3-year-old really likes it. Our daughter, our youngest daughter, 10-month-old, she's been like housing this. She's going to actually have it tomorrow when I'm hanging out with her. But this one is, I've had the mango one. That's the one they sent me before. This is the mango chili zing. It says it for a reason, because this is legit spicy. It's actually kind of nice. It's like a nice kind of kick to it. It's not overwhelming. But again, all of these are going to have 10 calories per serving, 1 gram of sugar. And the key to this, why you might ask, like, why do you even want to take sea moss gel? We'll get into that. I will address that. But first, I just want to do a taste test. So I'm going to organize them. Honestly, number one, the easiest to take is the gummies. If you're starting with, like, hey, I want to try and see how it goes, gummies is the most accessible. It tastes actually really good, and we'll get into the benefits of it. But now let's go into each one. Ooh, cherry pie is next. So mango chili thing, that was good, but you're definitely going to want and be okay with spicy for that one. Now let's check our cherry pie. I'm not a huge fan of cherry pie in general. I just like pie. That one's really good. And the cinnamon, yeah, I can definitely taste the cinnamon. You wouldn't know for any of these, from my experience, that it is like more or less seaweed. But like, again, sea moss gel says in there. They do a really good job, at least from my experience, with all the products I've gotten from Biolore and their different flavors so far. They do a really good job of mixing up the flavors, so you don't really know. Now let's try. This is going to be the pina colada, which is in general always a good one. Yeah, that's great. Oh man, this is tricky. Definitely it beats out the cherry pie. I think it beats out the mango chili zing. Cherry pie is my last one, so I'm going to keep ranking number one here. Now let's go into, we'll save the grape soda splash for last. Sour apple. In general, this is probably what normally I would gravitate towards as a pick. It's like applesauce, more or less. Yeah, it's pretty good. It doesn't beat out the pina colada, though. So I'm going to put that one number two. And then let's try, last but not least, we're going to go with our grape soda splash, which I don't love grape soda. So let's see. I was going to prefer a jelly. Yeah, it's exactly what you're. Honestly, I'm putting it last one because the cherry pie is surprising, especially with the cinnamon. So my number one pick is definitely the pina colada flavor. Number two, sour apple. Mango chili zing was really good. That one I would do by itself. I probably wouldn't use that in the peanut butter jelly level up kind of wrap. I'm going to show you guys here in a second. Cherry pie, and then the grape soda splash last. All of these are really solid. Like, I could literally eat any of these, and I really appreciate. Shout out to Biolore for hooking it up. Send these out. I'm going to be able to have that in our kids' lunch now for a while when we do peanut butter jellies. And instead of doing your traditional peanut butter jelly sandwich, now I'm going to show you guys, if you haven't seen the video already, I did some short content on how I like to do a level up to the traditional peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So first, we're going to have our sea moss gel. That's number one. Obviously, we're going to go 2 tablespoons. Number two, get this out of the way. We're going to take, I personally like to use a high fiber wrap, the Olay or Ollie brand, depending on how you want to say it, the high fiber. This is, for one wrap, it's 60 calories. It's got 13 grams of fiber, 5 grams of protein. You can get this on. I've got it in the carousel below. The one actually tagged in the carousel, though, it's their larger size tortillas. This is the smaller ones. And this is actually, it's 2 tortillas. It's going to be that serving. So for one, you're going to get half of that. But we do 2 here for that saving. Or you could do the large. It'll be the same thing. So here's what we're going to do. You've got, boom, our tortilla. I like to get local from the almond butter side. But on Amazon, I have great brands. I put a couple that I like here. Just because you literally, we make it fresh right there on the spot. It's literally just almonds mashed up. And voila. So I'm going to take a nice solid tablespoon on that. And then we're going to just throw it on our wrap as I drop all the almond butter. No, not the, okay, cool. Didn't get all messy. So again, got a tablespoon for our mini tortilla. We're just going to smooth that out. And voila. And then I'm going to go with the sour apple because to me, you know what? Yeah, that one is like, I just, I kind of want to try the pina colada because to me, I don't think of pina colada when I do peanut butter jelly. But it just tastes really good. So we're going to do about a teaspoon on that versus a tablespoon. So we're doing 1 teaspoon with 1 tablespoon of the almond butter, 1 teaspoon of our sea moss gel. And then voila, you do 2 of these. You've got protein. You've got about 15 grams of protein. You've got over 15 grams of fiber. And you've got like pretty low calorie. And it's going to give you some energy, either pre-workout, post-workout, or even a little bit of a snack. And it's just good. I'm going to throw that spoon right on top. So I'm going to pause here for a second, snack on this, and then as I finish, I'm going to share with you guys some of the why you might want to try sea moss gel, why you might want to try the sea moss gummies. What do they have in them that could be helpful and beneficial? And also, what is it not? Like, there's some things that can be stretched as far as the claims. I'll go over what it is and what it is not. While I'm snacking down on this, I'm just going to remind you guys, you got a 15% off coupon code here on Amazon. They'll give you 15% off on any of the Biolore products, from the gummies to the all-flavored gels. Oh yeah. I'm gonna get a little drink here. Yum, yum. Okay. So let's highlight a couple things. Yeah, it's so good, Frank. What's up, dude? How's it going? Yeah, it was a great snack. We saw it. Again, it's quick, it's super simple, and even for the kids, one of the things I think about for my parents out there, Frank soon to be, right, is being able to look out when we take a jelly. And I don't think there's anything wrong with jelly. It's delicious, it's great. A lot of times there's added sugar, and even when it's not, if you think about the impact of having substantial, let's just look at a jelly, even the one that we have, 50 calories for a tablespoon, and we've got 13 grams of sugar. So 13 grams of sugar versus, I think it's 1. So yeah, that in and of itself, I think is kind of telling the story. Now, what I will be mindful of is with that flavoring, you're going to have, let's see, where is it? Our monk fruit juice concentrate as the sweetener. So you are using like somewhat of a substitute. There's a trade it. What I wanted to highlight, the difference here is sugar versus some of the fiber-oriented ingredients in sea moss gel is how it impacts your gut health. One of the cool things about sea moss gel is having soluble fiber as part of it. The cool thing about soluble fiber is it's great for our gut health and for the bacteria. So depending on what you feed that bacteria or your gut, different bacteria can flourish. More sugar-oriented items can flourish different types of bacteria potentially, versus having more fiber-oriented items can help flourish different types of bacteria. And being able to have added fiber to your ingredients, your food, and even your supplements, I always think about how can it manage appetite, because I love to eat. That's like the biggest thing. I can have a pretty intense appetite, especially when I'm heavily training, which is fine. But when we want to lower our body fat, when we want to be able to manage our overall caloric intake, fiber, protein, and feeling satisfied is impactful. And food-dense items. So meaning foods that aren't very calorie dense per volume of space. So for example, lettuce, it takes up a lot of space. It doesn't have a lot of calories. You can eat a lot of it and you'll get full before you have a lot of calories. Versus jelly or almond butter even, or peanut butter, they can be very dense calorically. So that's why I like to be very mindful of how much I'm using even on the almond butter side. That's why the fiber wrap, the protein to it helps keep you full and satisfied. And also the cool thing with the fiber and some of the other ingredients in there can help manage your blood sugar. Again, everyone's different there. So you could literally, I could reference the studies that I'll have here, the peer-reviewed journals that are going to be up in the blog post if you guys want to see that. I have all the references and sources. You could take some of the people, but you might individually respond differently than somebody else in the cited references. So just be mindful of that. But in general, being able to have fiber, there's also higher levels of iodine, which can be helpful for like help supporting thyroid function. Our body naturally do these things, but having these natural ingredients, these vitamins, these minerals that hopefully we're getting from food, but if there are gaps in your nutrition, you can help make up some of those gaps with your supplementation, with things like sea moss gel, with multivitamins, with being able to take magnesium, being able to take fish oil. These things can help bridge the gap that naturally occur in your nutrition. So with that being said, the cool thing with the sea moss, again, gel and or gummies, from my experience, gel is going to be a little bit more bioavailable, meaning after it goes through the process, the gummies that get processed, it can kind of knock off some of the nutrients and not make it as bioavailable. They taste, honestly, this is the number one tasting of all these. Like I could eat this whole thing, which let's see. How many? There's 30 servings. So 30 times 12, that's still not that bad, like 360 calories for this whole thing. I could house that pretty quickly. Yeah, you got 60 gummies. And the point of me saying all this is being able to have that source from a more bioavailable is going to be a little bit better. So if you're like, hey, I got the routine down, we can start to go to the gel, powders, things like that for all of even our other supplements. But being able to get fiber in is helpful. Another thing for sea moss in general as a source can be the iodine. Again, you can have toxic levels of iodine, so you want to be mindful of how much you're taking. Again, talk to your doctor if you have concerns. Speak with a registered dietitian if you want to. We have an entire medical team. We have a medical director. You can get with our coaches. I'll happily connect you. We can give you specific customized insight for that. Another component to it is some of the trace minerals you will find in your sea moss gel which is a fancy way of saying like potassium, magnesium, sodium. Again, depending on how much you need, this may not be the most efficient source, but it helps just add to your actual routine. And that's one of the cool things. It's just like adding on top of it, trying to bridge some of the gaps here. There's also some components around. You can see differently. I'll tell you what it's not. Okay, this is not going to be something you're going to want to have as a quote unquote natural testosterone booster by itself. Like there's things that can help support thyroid function and some other aspects, but it's not going to like drastically, from what I've seen, drive your hormone levels up to replace like natural sources, your medication, taking good sleep, like whatever it is that you're also doing. It's still a great option, but I don't want to create a disillusion for you guys that it's like this should be replacing necessarily anything by itself. Now, while I did stop medication, I'm being mindful of stress and sleep and exercise and how I eat to manage my hormone levels. These are just things that complement that as well. So really the two things that jump out at me is the fiber and the iodine from this. There's also, again, potassium. We have some other trace minerals. I'm actually going to pull up, come on over here with me, get out of the way, see if we got any questions here. I have some cited references I wanted to share with you guys that will pull up specific references and citations from peer-reviewed journals, because I don't tend to memorize this stuff, if I'm being honest. I like to just reference it so I don't have it off the top of my head. So here's a good, this is actually, yeah, this is a helpful kind of like recap. Here's what we can look at. So we talked about our iodine. We talked about our fiber. So we can also look at, when it comes to the fiber, the gut-related benefits, the fiber being a probiotic oriented. And that's something I talk about in my supplements I didn't mention yet, is being able to have a good probiotic. I'll be honest with you guys, that's something I routinely do take. I haven't as much lately because I've just ran out of mine. I didn't order a new one. I have another company sending me some. But being able to use the sea moss gel in conjunction with soluble and insoluble fibers can help in that gut health arena. Also being able to eat fermented foods. That's like a big thing. I haven't honestly eaten as much sauerkraut or kimchi, but that's things that we can add to a nutritional element. And that's a great source. I would pick that over even taking supplements for the gut health side. Another piece we talked about, so to recap, we have the iodine, we have the fiber, we have the like prebiotic and just gut health related components to that. And being able to also have some of the other trace minerals around magnesium, potassium, sodium, that could be helpful. Now, again, should it replace an electrolyte supplement? Potentially, probably not. Depending on how you're exerting yourself, this necessarily shouldn't replace your electrolyte. It can just complement that and be able to help have a net positive. The cool thing about the sea moss gel and the gummies is overall, it's going to be a net positive. There's not going to be as much like, oh, well, I shouldn't do it because of this. Again, pending contraindications, I don't know of any that should be really impactful. But again, talk to your doctor, talk to your PCP if you need to, or if you want to get with our medical team, we can connect you guys, set that up, be able to have coaching support from a medical supervision side to make sure that you're taking or not taking things that are going to support your goals. With that being said, I'm going to highlight a couple of other things that jump out to me here. So we talked about, again, the fiber. We talked about the iodine. We talked about the electrolyte kind of blend here. And where it'll also kind of come into play is being able to help overall, again, with the thyroid function, but also from immune support. So being able to give your body some of the, here's the thing, you have a naturally built-in immune system, right? But being able to provide it the basic ingredients to support its natural functions can be impactful. That's where these things come into play. So sea moss gel is just going to complement that as well. So for me, a big takeaway with our sea moss gel, whether again, gummies, gel, whatever you want to do, be able to have it on a daily basis, build it as part of your routine. And it can also, the cool thing, even if you just want to use it as a substitute for peanut butter and jelly, saving it purely just for calories, one serving is going to be 50 calories on your jelly. One serving here is going to be 10. So you're saving 40 calories, which by itself doesn't sound like a lot. If you do that every day, you compound that over 365 days a year, that's going to be over 10,000 calories. That's going to be over potentially 3 pounds of body fat. Again, there's a variety of assumptions we're making here. But if we're saying, hey, you don't change anything else and you're eating in a pretty much even state and you lower your calorie intake by 10,000 calories a year, you could roughly lose like 3 pounds a year, which doesn't sound like a lot. But if you naturally just do that, you don't change anything else, over 5 years, you're down 15 pounds of potential body fat. That makes a big difference. And that's how weight tends to creep up and or down. It doesn't tend to happen like overnight in a week or a month. It can happen in a season, but usually it's years of like gaining a couple pounds, and then before you know it, 5, 10 years later, you're 20, 30, 40 pounds heavier. And then all of a sudden we want to try and in 100 days take it off, which we can. We specialize actually in that. But what I always invite for people is making it sustainable. So just doing a swap like this, let alone all the like nutrients and benefits, just being able to save yourself on some calories, still has a net positive. The net positive in my perspective, from jelly to sea moss gel wins every single time. From the nutrients, from the fiber, from the calories. So jelly tastes good, but like really from the value, it's going to lose when it scores against your sea moss gel. So that's why I wanted to also talk about this, is being able to level up that peanut butter and jelly. Instead of traditional, like we'd have white bread with almond or peanut butter, it's relatively processed, and your jelly, you're going to have more calories, you're going to have less fiber, and you're not going to be as satisfying. You're not going to use as many nutrients. When you have a high fiber either wrap or bread, you have almond butter instead of peanut butter, you're getting very slight nuance difference. It's really not going to make that much difference from a caloric standpoint. It's more or less same protein, more or less same calories. It's just some of the other ingredients that go along with it. And then being able to substitute your jelly for your sea moss gel, you're just going to, again, have better quality. That's what I think about too, is yes, there's a calorie component, there's a macro component, but it's a quality of the ingredients and the net is going to have on your body. This is just a net positive change, and it just tastes good. It's delicious. Being able to have everything from pina colada, apple, cherry pie, a little bit of spice. I wonder how the mango chili zing would be in a peanut butter jelly kind of swap. But even, again, traditional, like your grape soda substitute. Mango, I have a mango one in the fridge as well. It's just pure mango. That one's on point. It's a great substitute as well. So that's a little bit of it, again, the value to it, and where you might even consider why sea moss gel in general, why it's been kind of a thing that's been coming. I've noticed over the last year and a half. I've also had drinks from it. I've had a variety of different ways to take it in. They're all pretty good. It's a net positive at the end of the day. It's just being mindful of, are you expecting this to replace quality nutrition across the board? It's not what you want to do, but it is a great option. It does add tremendous value at the end of the day. So I'm going to check to see if we have any questions that are coming in. Doesn't look like we have any questions on the sea moss gel, specifically more of just like it looking good. And I appreciate you guys coming to check this out. I'll also just again plug, we have our 15% off code here on Amazon Live. You guys can take advantage of that on not just the gel, but on the gummies as well. What I'll also say is we're going to be putting out our dessert recipe pack. We don't have it ready yet, but in the time ahead in the next year, we're going to have a dessert recipe pack coming out. I'll do some fun integrations to this if you guys want to see that. We have a higher protein almond butter, a kind of chocolate cup combo that's going to be really good. And also thank you guys for the support, because our slow cooker recipe book was #1 in its category. It was #2. Our barbecue was #1 in its category, and our 28-day reset was in the top 30. I appreciate you guys. We try and make it free every single quarter as much as we can to just pay it forward, share the support. And I appreciate you guys offering up that support when we do it. And again, I went through the supplement routine. One thing I will circle back to is sometimes there's this talking point of plant-based versus animal-based protein. So I busted out. This is actually one we had for the retreat. We didn't have to finish. We got extra. So we have better body foods versus ancestral grass-fed, again, animal-based proteins. More or less, it's going to weigh whey-based protein versus plant-based protein. And then I also have our collagen peptide from Sports Research, which is just a fancier version of protein. It's a fancy way to present protein. Honestly, here's my 2 cents. Collagen peptides is like probably the most expensive version of it that's unnecessary. It's great, it's effective, but you don't necessarily need the collagen proteins. They talk about having it great for your skin, your hair, your nails. That may be true. I've yet to really see strong peer-reviewed journals to justify the price on that. It's still a great option. I use it. Sometimes I'll put it in my coffee. This one's unflavored. There's also flavored versions. The vanilla whey-based protein or animal-based protein, again, it's great. It talks about having adaptogens, gut health, which is like, to me, less. It's really just more about the protein, honestly. Now, yes, it does have organ and mushroom nourishments and added things. To me, like, really, you just want to find a basic protein. This is more of like, it's categorizing as a superfood for a smoothie or a shake. I personally just like to have a protein powder. I use it as a protein powder. I could throw it in with smoothies. I could throw it in my coffee. I could throw it in different like dessert recipes, even when we make like our peanut butter cups or our almond butter cups. Same thing with the plant-based. The difference here is, again, what do you care about? Is there like maybe ethical reasons why you don't want to have like animal-based products? That's fine. What I will say is when we're looking at plant-based versus whey-based is the amino acid profile. 10 out of 10 times an animal-based product from a protein standpoint will have a complete protein source. Most of the times you want to see with a plant-based, are they hitting the full amino acid spectrum? And usually if they're mixing more than one sources of the actual plants, you're going to hit that, whether it's pea and rice protein. Maybe it's going to be chickpea, another variation. This one, I believe that's quinoa, pea, and yes, it's quinoa and pea. So that's another great example. This will hit your full spectrum. And if you're not certain, as we got me here for, and you have our team where we can go through it with you. That's one of the things we offer from part of our coaching and our experiences. Like, we will literally run through your entire nutrition. We can go through labs if you want to get that done. And we can go over, hey, what makes sense? If you even want to take nutrition, ideally you're eating this from food first. First and foremost, we're trying to get 80 to 90% of our protein from food, and then we're supplement with it. Like, if I'm eating 150 to 200 grams of protein a day, maybe 30 to 40 grams of that protein is coming from supplements. The rest is coming from food. I very intentionally break it down that way, and that's what I would invite you guys to look at as well. So I'm going to kind of pause there. That's like the thing I wanted to address when I came to the protein. We talked about creatine. We talked about some of the differences there. The pre-made ones versus the powders. Pre-made is just going to be more expensive. Powders are going to be a little bit more cost effective. And being able to go through, again, my supplement picks, whether you want to go for Magic Mind, that one's a little bit less caffeine oriented, a little bit more of the adaptogens with your mushroom kind of blend. That can be really helpful. One thing I wanted to go over now that we have a little bit of extra time is some of our droppers and some of the differences on this. Because like I said, we have trace mineral complex. I have a magnesium one. And then we have the supplement version too, which I already talked about. Magnesium is the top pick for me. And being able to get it from a dropper is always beneficial. Here we go. It's hiding. So we have the trace mineral complex versus just purely magnesium. What does that mean? I think words sometimes we'll try and leverage in the industry. I'll notice like supplement companies or even coaches, like there's marketing to like, hey, I'm going to leverage certain words to either overemphasize a point or to drive fear or to create confusion so that you think I'm the authority and you need me, whatever that looks like. Here's really what we're talking about. Trace minerals is just a fancy way of saying your non-vitamin oriented things that'll be valuable for your body. So this one's specifically looking at magnesium, chloride, sodium, potassium, more or less electrolytes. And you also have sulfate, lithium, and boron. Now, the ratios here, in general, a lot of times supplement companies will be like, oh, it's got like 1,000% more. It's like your body can't actually uptake that all in one shot. So sometimes you're just paying extra. This one doesn't do that. It has 60% of your daily intake for magnesium. That's based on like a 2,000 calories suggested. That's going to differ from person to person. Chloride, yeah, 30%. And then sodium, very, very low. And potassium, very low. So realistically, this is just like a magnesium minerals complex supplement. I think this is like somewhat unnecessary. If I had to pick between the two, I would just straight up go with the magnesium. It's got 440 milligrams of magnesium. It's got bioavailability. It also still has the chloride and it has your sodium in it. Sodium is really negligible, 10 milligrams, but chloride, 1,200 milligrams. Versus this one has 700 milligrams. So in general, the trace mineral complex, you could get it, but I think the magnesium complex one is actually the best bang for your buck of these two. And the brand just sent me these. I wanted to try them. So I'm just giving you guys a real, like, honest insight in my perspective. And then have these claims of like, okay, so the trace mineral complex, it has hydration, energy, bones, muscles, and pH balance. Now here's what we want to look for. So this has a GMP certified, so good manufacturing. So basically it's saying good manufacturing practice, saying like the actual protocol has what it says. And that's what we care most about, in my opinion. And then the made in the USA, that's always great, but there's always complexities to that. Organic's nice to see as well. Like this one has USDA organic. I care about, again, either NSF or GMP certified or third-party verified that it has exactly what it says in it. I would go with magnesium for this one of the two versus trace minerals. And then we also have, again, D3K2. I like this one just from bioavailability. That's the move. I do that every morning. I'm going to add the magnesium. I've been taking the health dose pill version of it, but now they have the droppers. I just like droppers. It's more accessible. And then B12, again, bioavailable. This is a good example. This has 208,000 of your daily dose. This is one you can actually, like, your body can utilize to some degree. You get higher absorption rate. This is one where it does make sense to get a higher portion of it. Sometimes you're just kind of like pissing out the extra, so you don't have to do a full serving. But B12 is one I do. It is definitely my top 10. Not always in my top 5, depending on the person and what we need. Because especially if you're getting a multivitamin, you're getting B12. If you have a good multivitamin, you're getting some of this other stuff in there. But the added magnesium for me, based on my body's just like needs and the electrolyte breakdown, I find that one to be helpful. But from a dropper, in general, I like using droppers from the bioavailability when possible, as long as it makes monetary sense as well, too. I'm fortunate, again, these brands just send me this stuff. So thank you to all of them for just hooking it up for me to try. And also, again, a shout out to Biolore for the Sea Moss gel and the gummies. I'm going to keep going back, man. Like the gummies, I really actually want a couple more. What I can tell already is our kids are going to want these gummies because they taste really good. So I'm like hesitant to even like give them the gummies. What do you think about that, Carrie? Like I'm hesitant to like not give Anna and the kids these gummies. Can you try them for me and tell me what you think? Well, here, come look at this. So we're gonna tag Carrie in. Carrie's like way more. I'll be honest with you guys. Carrie's way more particular about even like I don't like giving the kid dyes, but like this, even with the ingredients, they're pretty solid. Check it out. It does have monk fruit concentrate as a sweetener. That's part of it.
Yeah, I'm not. That one's not.
But they use apple juice, orange juice, so taste-wise is really good. There's no dyes or anything in it. I really want you to taste them because they taste really good. I know that if Anna had this, for example, she would go crazy. And even Lena and Tessa, honestly. I mean, Tessa's a little bit like less interested in these, but
I don't know that they always need an energy boost. I'm not gonna lie, but I will say so.
It's more of like
one thing that stands out to me is the citric acid. Again, we went over this with Michelle. It depends on what the source is. Usually, they don't say it's not from natural fruit. It's ascorbic acid, which has its drawbacks, and then also the natural flavors. I'm never crazy about. They just say lemon, raspberry, apple, orange, pineapple. They don't have to disclose what they're using for the natural flavors. So that's one that if I don't have to, I'll steer clear from. But they're not like totally out of my. They don't have any like X-nay, no, absolutely not ingredients. So yeah.
All right. So specifically, so here's one thing I was going to bring up with Michelle. So we've had last year with one of our other nutrition coaches talking about absorbic and or citric acid. Here's the thing with those specific ingredients by themselves, they're actually not as carcinogenically driven. It's when you combine it with sodium benzoate specifically. So it's sodium benzoate plus citric acid and or absorbic acid from what I've seen. And this is like over the last maybe 10 years old now. That's not to say Michelle's not right. I don't see as much data around like citric or absorbic acid by itself being quote unquote negative or having as much tax to it. So I think as long as the thing I would say is when you're looking for these things, if something also then has sodium benzoate, when you combine those two together can become they become carcinogenic. There's a fancy saying can cause cancer, but in general, when you have it by itself, but these just taste so good. So
yeah, I feel like their ingredients are pretty on point. Like I fed this to the baby
yeah, Like if you guys saw the short form video, I let her have it, and look at these flavors.
Yeah,
like you already brushed your teeth.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try it. She tried the mango pineapple and loved
this one's the mango chili thing. This one's nice.
No, not that one.
But this one's pretty
cherry
good
for sure, and grape soda I think too.
I don't love cherry pie. This one's pretty solid. That one's they're all good. That one's my least of all the five. I kind of ranked them. So I would put pina colada number one. Then I put the sour apple. Then I did the zincs. I like the spiciness to it, cherry pie, and then the grape soda. So this is like
would be good for peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, it's a good. But actually, I tried it with the pina colada and this one in the wrap. It was actually pretty good. The apple I think would be good too. The mango is always good.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, the grape would be a great substitute. So, anyways, that's a little bit of a recap to just bring it home with Biolore to break down what my current supplement routine is. Again, nothing too crazy. I keep it more or less pretty simple. I'm not a big fan of like having 100 different supplements. We could also talk about peptides. We could talk about some different like newer age, I would say like NAD, for example, is a supplement I've talked about maybe in the past that I will experiment with adding and playing with longevity and looking at labs. But what I've seen, not only for myself, that's come up when I do use my labs and I look at what I'm taking and what makes a difference, a solid multivitamin, being able to stay hydrated, being able to have a good protein, creatine, being able to have a probiotic and or prebiotic combo, being able to have my like B12, my D3K2. These are like the standard things. That I believe it's 88 to 92% of Americans from the study that I saw that I'll reference in the source was vitamin D deficient. So being able to have that is a big one for me, even if I'm taking a multivitamin or not. So like just basic things. It takes like 3 minutes in the morning is my supplement routine. I keep it all in the one place. I do my coffee. I get that started. I take my supplements. When I was taking my medication, I take it with it. Now I'm just not. And one of the reasons I actually stopped taking that medication, I noticed my gut just didn't feel as good taking it. Other than that, like my testosterone levels pretty much doubled. Estrogen levels were in check. But my gut didn't feel good. I also, interestingly, I can't say these are correlated or causated, maybe correlated, was I started having varicose veins over the last year when I was taking that medication. And it may have just been the way I was training and a variety of other things. But I stopped taking it. And my gut feels good. My energy levels still feel good. Body composition, lean body mass looks good. I've definitely added a little bit of body fat over the last year, even while I was taking the medication for a variety of reasons. But now we're actually like playing with that as well. So anyways, that's more or less a recap from the supplement side. So I'm going to bring it home. I'm going to check for the questions. I'm also, in about 10 minutes, going to go back live. We're going to do a guest live streaming podcast with my homie Matt Stone, who's a great author. He's a former Army Ranger that's now a PhD candidate that is like honing together his thesis. He's put out 5 books now here on Amazon, so I have them in my books. We're going to talk about those. We're going to talk a little bit about his beliefs on where things are at from a like information perspective on how you can source information. I'm going to tie it into health, into wellness, and we're just going to chat and shoot the ish for about 30, 45, maybe 60 minutes. We'll get going in about 15 minutes. I just wanted to jump this in. We would bring it home. I was leaving a little bit of time for Q&A. Doesn't look like we have any questions coming in. So thank you, though, for everybody tuning in. Again, take advantage of the 15% off promo code. If you're not already, please make sure you're following, subscribing, liking, sharing this. It's very helpful, and you do if you want to support us. If not, that's okay. I got you. Give me feedback on ways we can level up, add more value for you. And that's really it, y'all. We're going to have, again, our next office hours is going to be on Tuesday. It's going to be 6:05 Eastern Standard Time coming up. I'm going to be breaking down a continuous build on the series of, we talked about the formula, why things don't always work out, systems related to it. Now we're going to talk about when things don't work out. So we understand systems are important. Pattern disruptions come up. When the pattern disruption comes up and your system has broken, what do you do? That's what we're going to go over Tuesday on how do you re-engage your system, or how do you re-engage your routine to turn it back into a habit after a pattern disruption has come into play. And sometimes having little things like gummies to make it more enjoyable for your supplement routine is a good example of that. So we'll break that down on Tuesday. I'll be back in about 20 minutes with Matt Stone. We're going to be going over his books, some of his insight, what he's been finding out. He's also got a great website you guys can check out. We'll go over that as well. But other than that, that's going to do it here. I'll see you all in about 15, 20 minutes. Later, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.